Good morning and happy Easter, everyone. I want to begin my sermon today by sharing a story with you, but it's a story that my sister would probably be angry with me for sharing. So let's just keep it between us, okay? And the whole internet. Just don't tell her. My family was on vacation. We were heading back home to Wisconsin from Yellowstone National Park. We'd been in the car for a long road trip and we were getting weary and probably just a little bit sick of each other. We stopped for breakfast at a Perkins, kind of like a Denny's for those of you who aren't familiar. The host seated us at this strange little booth in a secluded little area of the restaurant, and there was no one else around. We ordered our food and had just gotten our drinks. And my sister, ever the fidgeter, was playing with one of those little plastic creamers. It had a minuscule hole in the bottom of the plastic part, and she was squeezing the cream out onto the table and writing something, probably her name, with the cream. My dad and I both took a swig of our drinks, and at that exact moment, the top of the creamer packet popped open, and the cream that was left in the packet splatted right into my sister's face. It was like a slow motion cartoon. My dad and I both spit our drinks out and went into fits of laughter while my sister sat there, stunned. My mom was horrified and embarrassed, of course, as moms tend to be. And the server stopped to take our food orders, not having seen any of what just happened. All she saw was a table full of creamer, hot chocolate, and soda, and half of us unable to breathe from laughing so hard. My mom apologized profusely, and the server said, "Don't worry, it happens all the time." As she walked away, I managed to say, "I bet this exact thing doesn't happen all the time," in between fits of laughter. And then we went on to have an uneventful rest of our trip. But the point in sharing this story is to say that meal times tend to be one of the favorite settings for us to create and share memories and stories. Many of you will probably be heading off to various family meals after church to celebrate Easter. When we gather at tables and relive shared family memories, we create links between past and future. We pass these stories on from generation to generation. Likewise, part of the Christian identity was formed around the table, particularly in the breaking and sharing of bread. The last meal that Jesus shared with his disciples was a Passover meal, a ritual meal of celebration and remembrance. The purpose of this meal was to remember God's mighty act of leading Israel out of slavery and into freedom. However, by the time Matthew's gospel was written, Passover was becoming what it is for Jews today, an in-home celebration retelling the story of God's deliverance even in the face of disasters and defeat. And we, of course, hear many different stories in which Jesus shares meals with his followers and disciples. Always at the center of the shared meal are four gestures. Jesus takes bread. He blesses it or gives thanks. He breaks it and he gives it to them. Much like we still practice during Holy Communion today. Whenever we eat bread, we are to remember that we do not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from God. And when we eat bread and share a cup in remembrance of Jesus, we are to take in the mystery of God's amazing grace and self-giving love. We will get to experience this grace during church today on Easter Sunday. And we get to remember that there is so much for us to be grateful for as we receive this grace. Even in a world that sometimes feels like it is crumbling around us, we have much to be grateful for. And on today of all days, we get to experience this meal in community. Not only do we get to receive God's grace, but we also are reminded of Jesus' sacrifice for us and his resurrection. The concept of resurrection is not always easy for us to wrap our heads around. We could have an entire sermon series or an entire academic lecture series, honestly, on the resurrection. But today, let me try to put it as simply as possible. Resurrection is something we can see and know in this world. It is a family that stays up all night after a death, keeping memories alive as they share stories and laugh over old jokes. It is the power behind social movements and activism and protest, where people name and claim that injustice and oppression and death will not have the final word, but that life exists just on the other side. It is the grace of a loved one returning from the brink of death by the miracle and love of God. And resurrection is the power of remembering that we are deeply loved, and Jesus proved that love to us over and over again. It is the power of knowing that we serve a purpose here in this world, that our time is limited, and we get this time here to live into the gifts God has given us out of tremendous love for us, exactly how we are in this moment. So as we come to the table today to receive Christ's grace, we come just as we are, and Christ meets us there. May we seek to live as resurrection people in this world that knows so much death. May we be resurrection people of hope, of compassion, of justice, and, above all, may we be resurrection people of love. Amen.